Wow.
Okay, so when you're looking at CrowdStrike, you probably see a little bit different when you log in, potentially, right? Because of maybe a different
Yep.
line on the
It
dashboard
sends me to the page. It sends me to the page right away. Like
for the
tree,
the
the file process.
Okay, so basically they provide you with the link to the actual alert.
Right.
Okay, mine's the same way. I don't actually have to interact with the dashboard. It's kind of the same thing. I get the link, I can follow it in. Okay, so I guess my question is where do you want to start? Like what do you think you're struggling with? Maybe explain what you know, and then we can go from there too. I mean, there's many different ways we can go at this.
So I understand how to search stuff now.
Okay.
The main struggle, I don't understand the process. Let's say ads.exe. I understand that this is executable file. Okay, I can check the hash. I know how to check the hash. I know how to find a user. I know how to find a host.
Okay.
But I don't understand that. Is this legit that this process stemmed from smd.exe and smd.dxe stemmed from explorer.dx, whatever, explorer.exe. So I don't understand this one. I don't understand, is it legit or not legit? So basically I have a big, like, huge hole in learning. I need to learn processes.
Okay, well then you're going to hate me right now because I'm going to tell you it's all going to come with experience and time. I can't tell you all of those because I don't know them all. And to be honest, most people don't know them all. What you're going to have to do in a lot of cases is rely on research. There are going to be some things that you can absolutely look at and just know. You know what I mean? But then there are going to be some that you don't know. And again, I'm not trying to be short or harsh or anything like that. You are wanting to know everything without putting in the time to learn more. And I get it. You want to feel more confident. You want to know what's going on.
Right.
That being said, there are a lot of things that you can do to learn what that process is. And there are a lot of different times where you look at these attacks and the process is legitimate. So command.exe is a legitimate process. So it's totally possible if I click on that and I go here to the hash and I go to VirusTotal, it is 100% possible that this is the legitimate command.exe, and it is. Just like yeah.
No, if you go back, do you see the system 32? The file path has system 32.
Yep.
Usually anything with system 32 is legitimate.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you definitely got to look and see where is it at though, because they could always make a folder and name it system 32 and then you think it is. So I think you're right, but I do think you need to pay attention to the fact that it's on that device, on whatever hard drive it's on. It's in the Windows system 32 folder, but not everything is in the Windows system 32 folder. Okay. But what you will do is you can look up command.exe and you can find out where is command.exe? What does it look like? What does it do? And if you just type it in right off the bat, you can learn what it is. So it is get out of the way, the default command line interpreter. Okay. Now, the easiest way that I can help you understand what command.exe is, it is the way that you can tell your computer what to do. Before we had graphical user interfaces, so before we had point and click buttons and links to click on, you had to go to a command prompt. You had to go to a command prompt like this, or you were in a command prompt. And this is how you told your computer what to do. If I decide I want to ping 8.8.8.8, right? So I'm telling my computer to ping Google, right? But this is how you told your computer what to do. And your responses were all text. Windows 3.5 basically kind of mainstreamed GUIs or graphical user interfaces where you can point and click, okay? But what you don't realize is that in the background, when you double click on an exe, on an executable file, you're telling a program to run. A lot of times there is a command.exe that is running, right? So does that make sense? Does all that kind of connect?
Yeah.
Okay. Command.exe is just one process. There are millions of processes. Every program that is written has exe files associated with them. So you're never going to know all of them. There are a handful of them that are very important that you absolutely 100% will come across, and you have to be able to analyze them. You have to be able to look at them, and you have to be able to know if they're legitimate or not, right? So I'm pretty sure you've seen this before, right? The sans dir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you are looking at Crowdstrike and you're looking at the process tree, you need to look at what processes occurred in what order, okay? If they don't go in order, then there's a good potential for them to be malicious. Also,
Yeah.
if you find something that is abnormally coming from another process, that's a good indicator of maliciousness as well. Okay.
Mhm.
So for instance, if we look up explorer.exe on our poster, I mean, explorer.exe is basically, that's the computer. That's what is running everything that you are. If you're on a Windows machine, explorer.exe is basically kind of running everything. That's the easiest way to put it. But you always, when you're looking at the poster, you will always see right here, it tells you that it's in the system root folder, okay? And the parent process for explorer.exe is user init, so user init.exe. So if I go back to Explorer, if I look at this, and I could look at the parent process here, which I don't know.
Can you? But it will not show you, right?
I don't think it'll show me here. Like Carbon Black will show you what the parent process is. Yeah, I don't know that it'll allow me to see the parent process, because that's all that it's showing, I guess. In any case, if you had the full process tree above this, you should see that user init.exe, okay? So I don't think that command.exe is on this poster that I recall, but I could be wrong. Yeah, command, I didn't think so, because these are the Windows systems, but oh, is command on here? I'm going to search. Okay. So actually, they mentioned command in the explorer.exe. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Windows can alternately function with another interface such as command.exe or PowerShell. Notice that the legitimate explorer.exe resides in the system root directory rather than
PowerShell. So PowerShell can stem from the explorer.exe.
Exactly. So again, eventually I think that the more we do this, the more that we'll know this, the more that we'll remember it, the more that we'll go, yeah, we'll be able to look at it and tell, you know, just like your tier 2s, threat hunters, SOC manager, they can look at it and tell because they've been doing it for years. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if
that's what everybody keeps saying, that it comes with experience.
It does. So you need to listen and you need to digest that, and you need to be comfortable in the fact that you're going to be uncomfortable from time to time, and that's okay. But for me, I don't know what @.exe is, so I would want to know, what is this? So what I do know is that explore.exe, so a Windows machine is running a command line prompt, and that prompt is running @.exe. I don't know what @.exe is. So what am I going to do? I'm going to look
Google.
Yeah, I'm going to Google it. I'm going to look it up. Now, sometimes you may find something in here that'll tell you, what this is. So this is actually saying it's a Mimikatz process, which is interesting.
Mimikatz.
Oh, look at that.
So cute.
Okay, so if I
Why
go,
the name of this awful program is so cute?
I don't know. Okay, so add.exe is an executable file on your computer's hard drive. The file contains machine code. If you start the software, Windows operating system, oh, okay, let's go there. That's process library. Yeah, I've seen.
Sometimes this Google is not giving you like
That's okay.
good
Look,
information.
that's okay, but though, look where you're at. You're at a potential resource that you can use to type in any process and find out what it is. So you bookmark this as a future. So for instance, look and see what it says.
Process library.
Yeah, process here. Here, let me do this. I'll share it with you. But this is where you've got to be good with your Googling. You've got to feel comfortable with going in and using Google and taking your time. Do you want me to share it with you on Slack or Signal?
Yeah, anywhere. Like
Anyway,
Signal is
okay.
fine.
All right, I got Signal. So there's process library. So look, give me a process. Let's see if we can find it.
Okay. Okay. Any.exe.
Any.exe. So that sounds like something that was made up for something. Yep. So that sounds like it could be an illegitimate. Keep in mind, if somebody creates a program, if I write a program, let's say I can code and I write a program, I can save it and compile it as whatever I want to call it. So I could call it any.exe.
Yeah.
So that could have been a malicious file. I don't know, but you probably at that point would want to, in that case, the hash might show up if it's a known malicious file. So you'd probably want to look at that. But keep in mind, not every executable is a known executable, because Joe Schmuck down the street can make a program and name it 123456789.exe.
This is the scariest part.
Well,
that you never know what is it.
And I agree. And it's funny, I made the joke about the fact that a lot of times we're doing very educated guessing. We're doing very educated guessing based off of the open source intelligence, our knowledge of computer systems and what we've learned as to what's right and what's wrong. And if something stands out as wrong, then that should make you pay a little more attention to it. You know, if something is a known issue, like again, I use this as an example all the time. If you see winword.exe opening a command shell, that's probably not a good thing, because usually that means there was a macro enabled on a Microsoft Word document that ran a command shell, and that is 99% of the time malicious.
You mean winword.exe?
Yeah. So if I open up Microsoft Word, so if I go here to Word, when I click on Word, if I were actually looking at my processes that were running on my computer, and actually, I mean, shoot, I could even, if I actually pull up my task manager, hang on one sec. And I think I did this for you before as well too. Here's my task manager, okay? If I open up winword.exe, I should see winword.exe. Look right there, it just opened. So there's winword.exe. So if I were looking at the process tree in Carbon Black, in Carbon Black or Crowdstrike, I would see explorer.exe, winword.exe. Now,
and if it's commanded exe, it's already malicious.
Okay, so
or if it's a PowerShell, right?
Exactly. So if I go into that Word document and it says click here to enable macros, if I click that button and there's a malicious command shell in there, that runs a command.exe script. It's basically running.
Quick question, Richard. Hang
on one sec. That when I click on enable macro, if there's a command.exe in there, there is a command.exe that already has a command typed in. So it is automatically running that command, and that command could be to reach out to, you know, HTTP, you have been hacked.com/get the file. I mean, you don't know what is inside of that command.exe. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why that's so dangerous. That's why those are so dangerous. But again, in your process tree, you would see Explorer, WinWord, and then you would see command.exe. And then you'd probably see, you know, netcons, you'd see, you know, DNS, you'd see, you know, potential file downloads, all that fun stuff. All right, sorry. What was your question?
But it's not always malicious, because sometimes it asks you enable, but it's not always malicious, right? It's
Exactly.
it's like, how to understand that it's malicious?
You don't know until you click it, and that's why it's dangerous. And that's why if you get a Word document, you have to be careful. You have to, at that point, then you're analyzing the email. You're analyzing, is this a phishing email? You know,
Right.
you're going, okay, why is this they've never sent me a Word document before. You know, you may pick up the phone and call the person, say, hey, Joe, did you send me an email with a Word document with the macros enabled? And he might say, oh yeah, I did. I sent it to you. It actually has a you know, a macro in there and blah, 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 blah for an invoice, whatever. Okay, then it's probably legitimate. But if you call
Yeah.
Joe and Joe goes, I didn't send you any email with a Word document.
Right.
Okay. Now at that point, you can report it as a phishing email. Or if you're the analyst and somebody has reported that to you, that's where you can then go and sandbox it if you have that ability. Or you write up the ticket based on the email. You get you get the sender's email, you get the header, you get you obviously are getting the body of the email. You're comparing that and seeing what kind of, you know, text are they doing? Is the English good? Is it grammar poor? You know, are there any links in there? If there are any links, what are they? If there's a file download or a file attached, what's the name of the file? You know, you're getting all those things that you would do normally when you're analyzing a phishing email.
Yeah. Listen, but let's say it's not malicious, and I will enable a document. What will show on this tree? Will it show command line? Will not, right?
Probably not. No, all you would see would be the Explorer and then WinWord. And you,
Okay.
I think, you might see the doc, but I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Yep. You
So,
might see the engagement, like what files. That's what disk operations are. It tells you what files it interacted with. So for instance, when I'm looking at the at.exe, that file interacted with my computer's hard drive, Windows folder, System32 folder inside of the Windows folder, and the exe at.exe. And then also this one here, System32 ntdll.dll. Now again, let's say I don't know what that is. And to be perfectly honest, one thing you got to keep in mind, this is just an alert, right?
yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that it actually is Mimikatz. Now, do you need to have
Where do you usually go? Where do you usually go after that, after this page?
What do you mean?
How do you do your research on this file?
I do everything from right here. So obviously you've got your date, your time, your host name, all that fun stuff. You can see that the alert is basically hitting on credential access via credential dumping. Do you know what this is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so this is actually the technique number from the MITRE ATT&CK framework. So if you copy this and you can just Google it. It should take you right to the MITRE ATT&CK framework right there, credential dumping.
Okay.
And then this gives you the attack methodology, the steps and so forth that are taken within credential dumping so that you can continue to do your analysis. And are you going to have to read it? Yes, you're going to have to read it and go, okay, what does it do? Like, what are some of the things that they can do if this is a legitimate attack? You know, like for instance, if you find that part of that legitimate attack is that they usually affect this file and this file, well then, okay, those are good indicators that this is potentially an attack. Again, you're gonna, let's say we don't know what this is. I don't know what it is. It's some sort of so DLL is a dynamic link library. That's what it stands for. Ultimately, a lot of times DLLs, I think, can be drivers. Let's see, in this particular case, the ntdll.dll file is a file created by Microsoft with a description of NT layer DLL, and it is the file containing the NT kernel functions. So, okay, do you know what the kernel is?
Kernel.
Yeah.
It's well, yeah.
What is
It's
it?
it's like a heart. It's the heart of the computer.
Yeah, it's like the heart of the software, actually. Yeah, it's like the brain of the. So if you're playing around inside the kernel, you're making changes inside the way that computer is thinking to a certain degree. So that's kind of a red flag, right? Let's see, you even notice here, it even tells you that it's located in the Windows System 32 or in the Windows or WinNT. So if it's Windows NT, which is the business version of Windows System 32 directory. So again, looking at that, that's exactly where it's at. So this is it actually interacted with the legitimate ntdll.dll file. So those are kind of the files that it interacted with. Host details.
Can you scroll up, please?
Yeah.
Do you go to these? That's what Christina told me to do. Scroll up, more, up, like more up, and up. 1 sec. Do you see that magnifying glass on the right corner? Yep. Yeah. Do you do host search, event search, hash search?
So that's how you pivot.
Yeah.
So that
this part is I'm interested also.
Okay. So yeah, this is how you would pivot. So once you get that, again, you want to take this one step at a time. You want to analyze everything that's here first, okay? And this is giving you an indicator. This hash is the indicator for this alert. So you should check that hash, right? I mean, go to virus, so let's check and see what it says. Okay. It says it's a file distributed, so it looks like it's the legitimate file. So far, have we seen anything malicious?
No.
I mean, so far.
Are you analyzing this at.dxe or are you analyzing cmd.dxe?
So this is the at.exe.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can even see right here. It says right here at.exe.
Okay.
So this is the legitimate file. You do have a command line script here that we might want to look at. Secure LSA login passwords. Let's take a look at this. What's mim.exe? We might need to break.
It was Mimikatz, right? It was something about Mimikatz there.
So let's take a look at this.
That's why I'm asking, what are you analyzing me? Are you sure you're analyzing me and that
But here's what you have to remember. Just because it hits on Mimikatz doesn't mean that it is. It just means that something associated with the Mimikatz attack techniques and tactics has triggered an alert. You need to verify whether it is or it is not. That is our job as an analyst. We are analyzing the alerts to know whether it's legitimate or not.
Yeah.
Again, and the more we do, the more experienced we get, the better we get at it. Okay. Obviously, if I see an alert for Mimikatz, it's definitely going to make my awareness much more heightened. But you still take it step by step and look and see what's going on. So mim.exe is a background process for music match jukebox that is run when Windows starts. Okay. Mim.exe music match jukebox is run. Handles most of the function called by, okay, mmjb.exe. Okay, so this is saying that mim.exe is actually associated with a music file. Why would a music file be looking for logon passwords? See, that's a little funky to me.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's I don't know, Richard. It's so complicated. Jesus.
You need to stop thinking that way. You need to relax. Okay. You need,
Okay.
I get it. It's complicated. Take your time. You can Google the crap out of it. And listen, I'm going to tell you like this. I worked a 12-hour shift last week. I worked 3 investigations in 12 hours. Now,
Okay.
I did have to do my health checks and a couple other things throughout the evening, but I mean, in 12 hours, I did 3 investigations. Why? Because they were in-depth investigations and I took my time. I Googled everything, I documented everything, I looked at everything. I tried to understand everything that I saw. Take it step by step by step. If you don't know what mim.exe is, look it up. If you don't know what o.text is, look it up. See if you get lucky and find that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's I don't have a silver bullet to give you to say this is what's going to make you feel comfortable. It's just going to take time and you just have to do more. And I understand part of the fear is it's like I don't understand all these processes. Neither do I, hun. I don't understand all of them. Do I know some of them? Yes, I do, because I've had a little bit of computer experience in my past. But that within minutes, you can be just as educated on that process as I am, or more so by being good at Googling it.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you
That
have
makes sense?
access to closed tickets, Elena, on CrowdStrike?
Yeah, I'm closing it, but some tickets, so most of the time it's legit stuff because
Yep.
it's some kind of deployment process or like scanning process, and I just find a ticket or similar notable, so I just looked at it. It was alerted previously and I'm closing it. But when it is something weird, I basically find a user and I email him, hey user, do you do this?
Mhm.
Did you can you verify the activity? That's it. That's what I'm doing. If there is no verification like it was previously, now they're still investigating. I look at the kid like messages between them because they have to put the notes on this ticket, and they're still investigating because they can't find out how user downloaded something and user said I didn't do it. So it's something like malicious there. I don't know, maybe just false positive. So but they have to, now the seniors are investigating, not me. My part is only if I cannot go further, I just email user and asking, hey user, did you do that? If he verifies, I just close the ticket. If not, then escalation.
Okay. So real quick, I want to show you something. So I
Yeah.
just looked up, when I was looking again at the command line for at.exe, I didn't know what this is. It looks like it's doing something with the C drive and the temp folder and a file called o.text. So I just copied that and Googled that. And I want you to look at the second one here. Does this look familiar?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at this. It almost looks exactly like
Like the one.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
So again, just Google stuff and then you can look at it. And this is by Carbon Black here, or it's something to do with Carbon Black.
Mm-hmm.
Smashing the stack. Okay, so what is this? We'll cover how to perform stacking using Carbon Black response and how we can use this methodology to find anomalies in your environment. In reality, an awesome threat hunter would like to have the following data at their disposal with this blog post. Script, W script. Pro tip. Yeah, here it is right here. You can see after formatting, sorting inside the pivot table, we have some interesting things inside the stack. Granted, my example data set isn't very large. You can quickly see a few malicious items. You can see, you can quickly see a few malicious items, such as
The red flag, it's temp files.
of course.
Malicious files usually there.
Yep.
Another, it's executable and it's login password, also red flag for me.
Yep. Yep. But could it be legitimate? Possibly. But look, so in my notes, I'm going to save this link as a resource, right? And look right here, it shows that. So I can actually, if I wanted to, I could copy and paste this portion, or I can say, you know, this portion and this portion, whatever. I can include that in my ticketing. So this is why it's okay to take time, especially right now. They would rather you do a better investigation and get it right, or as close to right as possible, more than just closing out tickets, I assume. Unless you're just a flat out ticket monkey. But I can tell you, based on my knowledge and my conversations with Tony, you're not just a ticket monkey. You know, you have the ability to work a ticket from start to finish.
Christina said that we have time frame and we are competing with another team, so it should be fast. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well, but you're still new. So you will get faster with time. You can't immediately, you know, decide, okay, I want to run a marathon and I'm going to run a marathon faster than everybody else. Guess what? You're not going to run it faster than everybody else your first time out of the gates. It's going to take time. It's going to take practice. So, but yeah, so some of these things to me are actually, you know, this actually is the first thing to me that's showing that there's some potential maliciousness here. I would probably want to read a little further. You know, I would want to read a little bit more, but I would definitely want to document that. And again, I could, because this file was associated, or we found that this MIM file was associated with that music thing. I mean, you could ask the user, but even still, look right here. It even says that mim.exe is part of this as well. So, yeah. You know, this is kind of like that. I wouldn't even ask the user, hey, did you download an update to a music file? Because I can guarantee they're gonna be like, no. So, you know, you've got some data here, and you could probably, if I had to guess, we could probably find some more if we kept looking. You know what I mean? So that's what you do. You document it, you find as much as you can, and then you make a determination. So, I mean, at this point in time, do you think this is malicious?
I think it is.
I would agree. I would agree that there is a malicious action that occurred with this at.exe. Now, right now, we don't really know exactly how it got there, depending on what tools.
At this point, I will just email the user, honestly.
But what would you email them? Hey, did you download Mimikatz?
Yeah, no, I will email. What did you download? What is the like your last activity on this?
Okay.
I will email this.
So you would need to give them the time. Say, hey, we noticed yesterday on May 25th, at about 5 minutes after 2, there was some suspicious activity on your computer. Do you recall being on a website or getting an email or anything like that that you clicked on? So you could absolutely try to ask that question. But that's where also being able to look into the host is important, because then what you can do, you see the time frame, you know what your time window is. Okay. And hopefully you have that written down in your notes. By this point, to pivot, hopefully you've gotten all of this written down in your notes, and then you can pivot and you can look at what that host machine did or that user did maybe 15 minutes before. And then also you could look and see what happened 15 minutes afterward to see if there were some additional maybe network communications that didn't get associated with this alert. Like we have no network, we have no netcons here, right? But if it took a little while before whatever file it did or whatever, then started reaching out to an IP address or a domain name, we may not see that right off the bat. So then you could look and see what happened before and after and put that with your initial part of your investigation. And now you've got a little bit more of a whole picture, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that kind of making sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I do understand the frustration, and I understand the not knowing. You're very diligent, you're a hard worker, and you want to do well, and that is admirable. 100%. I'm the same way. I want to be the best on my team. I want people to look at me and go, we
Yeah.
need help, call Richard. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I'm not there yet. It's going to take time, and that's okay. And you'll be there too. You just got to be patient,
Yeah.
keep your head down. And if you have a moment where you feel like you're frustrated, get up from the desk, take a step away, take a breath, go get coffee, and then come back and go, okay, what should I do now? Okay.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Hope you haven't heard this. My husband is just getting into the pig.
He's what?
Come.
Did you say he's getting into the pig?
Yes.
What do you have, like a pig
He
cookie
just
jar?
burped. He just burped. I'm like, very nice. I'm talking with Richard and Prey on Zoom, and he's burping here. Please around me.
We
Very
didn't hear
nice.
him. We didn't hear him.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right. Well, let me ask you a question. Is there does that help out a little bit? Does that
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
really, really helpful. Yeah, you're right, guys. Well, after all your advices, you're right. I have to give myself time.
Yeah.
That's it. Just
Yeah.
take a time and step by step.
Yeah, exactly. And just have faith in your abilities. We all know your abilities. We all know your skills. Just have faith in them. Stay focused. Keep your head down. Keep moving forward. You'll be just fine. Okay.
Maybe I should say, Julio, that, hey, Julio, maybe you shouldn't put me on shift yet.
No, don't do
No.
that. Do not.
No.
I will beat you. I will
Yeah.
come to, I know where you live. I will come to your house and beat you.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
This is only way to
And I'll
learn.
help them.
Hey,
Being on a
hey,
shift is only
Cindy.
way to learn, right? Or else you can just continue with training, so you're not going to learn.